Hello, friends. James Stevenson back with your subscriber exclusive weekly episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week, the show in which my co host Loki and I go through all the posts we liked on X over the previous week and talk about why we liked them. This week, it is yet again the Sawyer Merritt Appreciation Show. I very quickly scrolled through all the posts you're about to see, and I'm gonna guess 40% of them are from Sawyer Merritt, who was on fire this week. The hardest working man in the Tesla Twitter breaking news game, Sawyer Merritt, and others. There are gems from other people besides Sawyer Merritt, as you will see in this episode. Let me make this window bigger so you can see more of it as we go through everything we're going to look at today. Normally I do that before the episode begins, but that's pretty good. I'll scroll up from here. You saw those posts last week. Here's one from Elon Musk. It's just a laughing emoji replying to me. Now, what did I say that Elon Musk is laughing at? Let's take a look. Bob Lutz 5 years ago, the Model Y, I think, is terminally ugly. I don't know who's going to buy that. And the Tesla Semi, I forgot the E, is certainly never going to be built, and more, in this 3.5-minute clip of Bob Lutz, former vice chairman of General Motors, just saying dumb stuff.
However, they're building, they're delivering. Nobody quite knows what the profitability is right now, but the fact is there's still a lot of unsubstantiated hype. I don't think there.
Yeah, unsubstantiated hype about the Model Y, now the world's best-selling vehicle, that Bob Lutz thought was terminally ugly and did not know who was going to buy it. Well, more people than buy any other model in the world, which is why Elon Musk was laughing there. Always fun to get a laughing emoji from Elon Musk. Here's one from Neil Bolton. After Vern told Elon to jam his sub where the sun don't shine, or where it hurts, I think is what he said. Elon called him a pedo guy. Two grown men acting like children, insulting each other. That's something people do. But Vern was never a cave diver. He caused the rescue to be almost called off very early, and he was barred from the scene for being a pest. And then he took Elon to court and lost miserably. He had his day in court, and he did not win. If anyone would like to know what happened, here's the distillation of 5 years' research from J. Arnold, independent journalist who does great work and has researched this Thai cave rescue story and the other myths surrounding Elon Musk separately. Another piece of investigative journalism. He tracked down the Emerald Mine story and a bunch of other stuff. So if you want to know the truth about that stuff, search for J. Arnold and you'll find it. What was he replying to here? It was Blade of the Sun, who claimed in 2018 Elon Musk told the British diver, wrong, who helped rescue 12 children from a flooded cave in Thailand. I mean, a little. He didn't help a lot. He found them, I guess. It was a complete lie, and it should have been a huge red flag for us all. Well, it was an insult. That's what the judge said. All right, here's one from Evie Evangelist UK at Evie Evangelist. Broken the ice. What's he replying to here? I was the only person who liked this post. Rohan retweeted me saying, thanks, James. Amazing how wrong legacy automakers in the US/Europe were for a decade plus. They were more interested in actively boxing out Tesla in commercial and regulatory settings while simultaneously criticizing Tesla's financials and electrification broadly. Meanwhile, Chinese automakers were trying to copy and learn as much as possible from Tesla. Took a tremendous amount of focus and dedication and determination from the Tesla team to break through those obstacles from Tesla's competitors. I replied, great point. Legacy Auto could have learned from what Tesla was doing well 10 years ago. But because they didn't, They're now chasing both Tesla and the successful Chinese EV makers who did study Tesla and learn from them and make compelling EVs. Now, all the legacy automakers who were once selling EVs pretty well in China have seen their sales cut in half or worse over the past couple of years as local Chinese competitors started making good, mostly low-priced, very affordable EVs. So Autoblog Daily said Bob Lutz had a legendary career in the automotive industry, and hopefully him being completely wrong about Tesla will not be what he's remembered for. I replied he won't be remembered for being completely wrong about Tesla. He'll be remembered for bankrupting GM if he's remembered for anything. And then where is the reply that I liked? Did we see it already? Did I miss it? Where's the reply? I'll hit the back button and we'll find it that way. Oh, it's here. From Krishna. Have you noticed how people's opinions have changed over time? When Tesla was a small company, it seemed like a mere speck in the automotive world. But now with the entire auto industry facing challenges from this upstart startup, it's hard to ignore Tesla's impact. With a video here from June 24th from Elon Docs with another Bob Lutz interview saying, "I'll always owe Tesla a debt of gratitude for having broken the ice on electric vehicles." All right, so a pun well spotted by the EV evangelist there. Here's one from Elon. So now he cares about illegals, retweeting Doge designer who said, "President Joe Biden attacks Elon Musk. Elon is the richest man in the world. He was supposed to be in a school when he came on a student visa. He was working. He was violating the law, and he's talking about all these illegals." Well, funny thing about that, when you're on a student visa, you're not allowed to work. But Elon wasn't getting paid for what he was doing. He was working independently. No, he was not on anybody's payroll when he was creating Zip2. He got no paychecks. So that's not violating the law. If you're not earning any income, you're not in violation of the law. And by the time he sold Zip2 to Compaq, he had straightened out the immigration business, and so had Kimball. You can hear more about that in their interview for the Third Row podcast from 2018. They both talk about it pretty openly. Here's one from Ray at Ray4Tesla. There's still many ignorant people spreading misinformation on X about Musk, who was legally allowed to work on a J1 visa in the US. He might be an alien, but not an illegal alien. With this post, I was on a J1 visa that transitioned to an H1B. They know this as they have all my records. Losing the election is making them desperate, said Elon a week ago. Yes, J1 visa holders can work in the United States if they meet certain conditions. They must obtain work authorization to work in the US. They can work if their work is part of the approved program. Teachers, professors, au pairs, summer camp counselors, program sponsor approval. Yeah, so I think Elon may have actually had program sponsor approval from Stanford, where he was going to be doing his doctorate, when he told them he wanted to drop out to work on the internet. They may have been okay with that. Let me know in the comments below if you're a subject matter expert on this topic and know better than how I have just informed or misinformed my viewers. Here's one from Tesla Yoda. At Tesla Yoda, "Hey James, does this check out?" Retweeting Reigns. At Reigns1220, Tesla's FSD progress analysis decoding the 2x monthly improvement pattern. The most important thing for this analysis to be possible is what Ashok Elaswamy said during the Q3 earnings call, copied from the Motley Fool's transcript. Miles between critical interventions, meaning that they avoided an accident, or that without an intervention occurring, the software would have caused an accident, is what a critical intervention is. Like you mentioned, Elon, we already made a 100x improvement from 12.5 from the beginning of this year, and then with the V13 release, we expect to be 1000x from the beginning of the year. From January of this year on production software, by Q2 next year, we should cross over the average, even in miles per critical intervention collision in that case. This is the march of nines. You've marched 1, 2, 3 nines with a 100x improvement, and then one more 9 with a 1000x improvement. So those are encouraging. What public information do we have? FSD release timelines for every version, a few data points. 12.5 is 100x better this year. V13 should be 1000x better since the beginning of the year. Q2 2025 FSD will surpass the average human. The average human has an accident every 500,000 to 1 million miles, depending on who you ask. I would have said it was 500,000, so I would tend towards the lower end of this range. Maybe that's the US average and people in the US getting more accidents than people in other countries or something. I believe the above information is enough to solve the problem and reverse engineer the internal math that Tesla tries to hide but show off at the same time. However, each time you show off, you hide less from me. Using O1 Preview, together with my heuristics and some magic spell, here's the ultimate answer. On average, FSD improves 2x each month. All right, so if you want to get a 10x improvement, a 100x improvement, a 1000x improvement over this time spacing, here's how you back into the rate of doubling. Let's check a few data points since the beginning of this year. 1.4 months, 12.3.6 release, 2 to the 4th equals 16 times better. 2.7 months, 12.5 release, 2 to the 7th equals 128 times better, which matches the 100x Ashok mentioned. 3.10 months, V13 release, 2 to the 10th equals 1024 times better, matches again what Ashok said about a 1000x improvement. So if by Q2 of 2025 they're expecting a 2 to the 18th improvement, 262,000 times better, surpassing the average human rate of 1 million miles, then the beginning rate was 1 critical intervention every 4 miles. Let's insert this number back. Miles per necessary intervention. So 12.3.6 was 1 critical intervention every 64 miles. 12.5, 1 critical intervention every 512 miles. V13, 1 critical intervention every 4,000 miles. And 12.13.x, next year by June, they expect 1 critical intervention every million miles, surpassing human performance. Elon has wanted to tell us for a long time, but we were not paying attention. On July 31st, he posted, "We have a clear path to doubling average miles per intervention in August." What he did not say is Tesla has a clear path to keep doing the same thing every single month. So this is very exciting, or Reigns is very excited about the work that he did there, talking about how quickly FSD doubles its safety. All right. Next, well, did I reply to Tesla Yoda? I said I like it, but it's no guarantee. So that's my message to you two. Hey, it's fun to tweet about stuff like this, and maybe he's right, but we don't know. We'll know when Tesla tells us. I mean, Tesla did tell us those things that he cited, but they didn't say what he said. Assuming Reigns to be man. Which, who knows? I could be wrong. Here's one from The Odds Are on My Side with Tesla fans. Women are in the minority. It's a good likelihood bet that a Tesla fan with an X account tweeting math about Tesla, probably a man. Here's one from @AL_Levy. Our Cybertruck tiny, a nod to Starship. Check it out. These are patterned after Starship heat shield tiles. They're a lot smaller than Starship's heat shield tiles are. Probably you'd find yourself in a lot of trouble real quick if you tried to use the same size heat shield tiles that are on Starship, because you'd be right at these edges all the time. They're big. But it's a fun wrap for your Cybertruck if you want to wrap your Cybertruck. Here's one from Bone at Bone GPT. I'm a printer. This is what he meant to say was this is not even close to the same font. Check the glyph for the lowercase r for the clearest evidence. The bottoms of the Elon font are decorative hooks. The tops are not even close. Observe the triangular bottom shape in the font for Fractor. Maybe that's how that's pronounced. So here's one of these fonts. It looks like this at the bottom of the R. Here's this other one. It looks like this at the bottom of the R. This was Elon's hat that he wore at the Trump rally. And this is a Nazi newspaper from the 1940s. And they're super different, right? Look at this R and look at this R. And they are not anything alike. Why does that matter? Well, because he's replying to somebody that I'm not allowed to see their posts anymore because they blocked me when I called them out for being wrong, knowing that they were wrong, and not deleting their post. All right, here's one from Jason DeBolt. You can't search for the Joe Rogan Trump interview on YouTube, even when searching by the episode number 2219, yet you can search for any other episode that way, 2216, 2217, 2218. It's being singled out. The Rogan Trump interview cannot be found right now with any possible YouTube search, he said at the time, and this got so much visibility from him, from Jason DeBolt and others, that YouTube fixed it. They went in and they changed it. But yeah, for a while there, you couldn't find that podcast on YouTube, even if you searched for it by episode number. Crazy. All right, here's one from Alex at AJ Tourville News. Starlink Wi-Fi connectivity was a major morale booster for sailors on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier and its battle group, which recently returned from an extended and high-stress combat deployment in the Red Sea. We had Wi-Fi for the group. It really helped people connect with their external support network in ways that we've never seen before, said Navy Captain Chris Chowda Hill. He must be from Boston to get the nickname Chowda, who is unapologetically bullish about elevating crew morale. So good update there from Alex. Elon liked it, I think. All right, here's our first post from Sawyer Merritt. You're going to see a lot more from him before we go too much further. Q3 net income comparison: GM $3 billion, Tesla $2 billion, Ford $2 billion. Tesla's a much smaller company than GM or Ford, and Tesla sells a lot less cars globally than GM and Ford do. Yet, Tesla is making 2/3 as much as GM and more than Ford is making for Q3. That's a good post. I may have to update my GM versus Tesla charts this weekend if I can find time to do that and post them. Here's one from Patrick Summers at Tesla FamBam. Log into your Tesla account and go here. What are we talking about? Well, let me scroll up here to the surfing cyber surgeon who says he got the dreaded call from his wife this evening saying she had been in an accident with his 2 sons in the back seat. Screaming and crying and wife hysterical. One of the most scary moments in my life, and I am so thankful for the engineering team at Tesla making a safe vehicle because they're all fine. Is what he should have said next. He didn't say it like anywhere in the replies either. Glad everyone is okay, said Royce. Don't forget to pull the memory card and or request crash data from Tesla. He thought it didn't save it, so somebody came in to the rescue. Oh, trust me, it's saved. It's always recording, even when it says it isn't recording. I can't find it on Sentry, said the surfing cyber surgeon. Try saying that 5 times fast. It's available on request to Tesla. My wife and 5 kids had a wreck 2 years ago, and I only learned how to do it last week. Just received the video this week. Log into your Tesla account and go here, data and privacy, request data, download a copy of your data stored with Tesla and its services, request copy. You are amazing, thank you, said the surfing cyber surgeon, whose request was submitted to get that video. So if you should find yourself in the unfortunate position of being in a traffic accident in your Tesla, know that you can request the video footage from Tesla Brandon replying, seriously, this is so cool. You found this out. X and Tesla are amazing. Sad a lot of people are missing out. Yeah, X is pretty great for this kind of thing. You can ask a question and get help from the community, from folks who know stuff most people don't know. Here's one from Giacomo at G1AC0M0P. Replying to the cyber surgeon, Volvo, we will make the safest car, and it will be ugly. Tesla, hold my beer. Yeah, Volvos are no longer the safest vehicles. This thing is very ugly, but it was for decades the safest kind of car you could buy. If what you cared most about was safety, you bought a Volvo because you were likeliest to survive a car crash in a Volvo with its roll cage or however they design the cabin compartment. Yeah, here's Tesla. Hold my beer. We saw a nutty accident in Mexico where a Cybertruck was completely destroyed. I don't know how fast it was going. Very fast, though, right? That kind of damage couldn't happen at slow speed. Another comment he made in the thread was, if they total it, we get another Cybertruck. Technostic here. Sean is a great agent and a good guy. Highly recommended. In this thread where I asked people, where should I move? I never travel. It's true. I'm a boring person who never goes anywhere. The reason my 6-year-old Tesla Model 3 has 20,000 something miles on it, 25,000 miles maybe a little shy of 25,000 miles, is because I never go anywhere. I never go on long trips. And if I do travel a long distance, I fly. Sean Mitchell replying, you like mountains? This was my hike on Saturday. I would like that view from my house. Please get me that. If you know where I can find the house that has this view, let me know. I like mountains a lot, I replied, and we've been looking in Colorado. We have. Been looking in Colorado unsuccessfully. What I found a lot of in Colorado are huge houses that look great on the inside and are outside my price range. So I don't want to move into a house bigger than the house I'm in, which isn't a very big house. I want to move into a smaller house, and I want it to be nice on the inside. Nice kitchen, nice bathrooms, etc. And a nice view of the mountains. Oh, I'm going to say that in this reply. Sean replied, sweet, hit me up if you need recommendations for areas to land. I replied, I just want a nice, fairly new, affordable, freestanding, smallish home, no basement, with a garage, no carpets, upgraded kitchens and bathrooms, and a majestic view of the Rockies, near lots of shopping and great medical care. Is that too much to ask? Does that house not exist? Or does it just never go up for sale? I can't find any. Let me know if you found that house, and I'll buy it and move there. So Sean Mitchell, true to his word, did get me on his list for Compass, and I signed up for it. So I'm now getting house recommendations from Compass, most of which do not fit, all of which do not fit this description, because it is too much to ask, I think. All of those things in one house is very hard to find. All right. Here's one from Futuraza, Brian White at Futuraza. How many times must it be said? If I can hear your asthmatic vroom vroom wagon gasping for air, it's slow. It's gorgeous, no two ways about it, but it's just the wrong powertrain. Reposting drag times. $800,000 Lamborghini Aventador challenges a Tesla Cybertruck in a drag race and loses, like, handily. The Cybertruck easily beat this Lambo on a public street, which is not great. You don't want to go racing on a busy city street. But these folks did, I guess, and now I'm giving them airtime for it. Don't do that. That's not the safest way to drag race somebody. Why don't you go find a street there isn't any traffic on and race there? That would be better. So, yeah, the point that Brian has made here is true, and I've observed it myself. I don't know if I've ever posted it before. The loud, roaring engine sound is the sound of slowness now. That's the sound of a car that isn't as fast as a Tesla Model S Plaid. In nearly all cases, like, let me know if you can find a loud engine ICE vehicle faster than a Tesla Model S Plaid that you can buy for less money than a brand new Tesla Model S Plaid. Here's one from Sawyer. I just had the fastest in-flight Wi-Fi experience of my life thanks to Starlink. When the plane was landing, the download speed was a whopping 335 megabits per second. Another immediate standout was the lack of latency. I was able to browse social media, play YouTube videos, and most importantly, send texts the entire flight with no noticeable difference in speed, said Sabrina Ortiz, editor of something. I don't know what she's the editor of. Oh, probably ZDNet, Home and Office. So, good to see good reviews for Starlink in the air. I have previously complained about Wi-Fi in airplanes. They make you pay extra for, and then it doesn't even work when you're on the ground. And when you're in the air, it's not fast. At least that was my experience with Delta or Southwest or Alaska Airlines, one of those. Or maybe multiple of those. Here's another one from the Surfing Cyber Surgeon. Thanks, James. We'll do that. They are all okay. So good to see that they're all okay. Do you know how fast the driver may have been going when he rear-ended your Model Y? Wish people would pay attention to the road. They were traveling at 55 miles per hour when they hit the back of this Model Y, and everybody was okay. Crazy stuff. Here's one from Noland Arbaugh, the first recipient of a Neuralink device. Today is exactly 9 months since I got my surgery. Boy, does it not feel like it. Let me update you on what's going on and what is to come. And I'll let you read this whole update for yourself. It's just so long. I want to keep this episode moving. But look at all the stuff Noland Arbaugh has been able to do since getting his Neuralink implant. Inspirational story from him. And all this stuff that you don't want me to read to you about Noland and Eve. Eve is his nickname for his Neuralink implant. Eva from Wally. Here's one from Elon Musk. It's just a video clip. Maybe I have to play it for you so you can see what it says.
It's the single biggest question in my world, right? Which is like, okay, how is it that he does what he does? And I would say, like, I don't, there are people who have worked with him for a lot longer who probably understand this better, but I've had, an up close kind of look at it for the last several years now, and have come to really, I think, really respect it, and I think understand at least parts of it. Look, it's a lot of it. There was that famous text exchange, and actually he's a friend of mine, a wonderful guy, Parag, who was running Twitter at the time when Elon first kind of tangled with it. Parag's a wonderful guy, and he had literally just become CEO like a month earlier or something, and so he was just putting his plans in place when kind of everything the hurricane hit. But there was an exchange where Parag is talking about whatever, and it's the famous text exchange where Elon's like, "All right, fuck it, I'm not having this conversation anymore," and then he said, "What have you gotten done this week?" Right, and what I realized when I read that was like that is the Elon method. Like the Elon method boiled all the way down is what have you gotten done this week, right? And that's very important because anybody who has ever been at a large company trying to do anything big, the big things happen over the course of years, decades, years, months. Things don't happen in weeks. Like, companies have like 5-year plans, right? They have like, cars take like 7 years to design, right? Like rockets take like a decade, fighter jets take like 25 years, big software systems take 5-10 years. Any large scale effort anywhere in the economy, we've just all gotten used to this idea that things just take years and years and years. And then you've got like processes and procedures and plans and this, documentation and, rules and structure and strategies and like frameworks and PowerPoint presentations coming out of your ears, Amazon's big breakthrough was to go from Amazon's big breakthrough was to go from having PowerPoint presentations to having like 15-page written documents that everybody reads at the start of a meeting, which actually is an improvement off of a PowerPoint presentation. But like, there was that. Elon's like, no, I'm not doing any of that. Like, I'm not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that. Basically, we're gonna like staff these companies almost entirely with engineers. I myself, Elon, am an engineer. I am going to understand every aspect of every technical system that we're working on. I am going to be able to be in all the meetings on everything from rocket design to database design at Twitter and everything else. I'm going to only talk to the engineers if I can, possibly avoid it. I'm never going to talk to anybody who's not an engineer. I'm going to talk to the person who's directly relevant to the project. I'm not going through layers. I'm going all the way down to the company to just talk to the person who's in charge of this thing. And then basically what he does is he goes to each of his companies each week. He identifies whatever is the bottleneck at that company this week, and then he works with the engineers and he fixes it that week. So what happens is his companies move so much faster than everybody else's. Like, it's just like it's like tortoise and rabbit. Like they just move so much faster. They're so much leaner. They don't have all these layers. They don't have all these like systems and controls and processes and all this stuff. But what they have is like many of the best engineers in the world who just absolutely love working with a CEO who understands the substance of what the product is, and then is willing to actually work with them hands on. I mean, I've been in meetings with him at X where he's in there with 24-year-old engineers, and they'll just walk through fire for him. Right, because he's like their idol, and he's able to have a pure conversation with them, and he cares about the work that they're doing. And if they succeed at it, he is going to love them for it. And if they fail at it, he's going to be very disappointed in them. And it's just a completely different relationship than the CEO of one of these big tech companies has. It's just completely different. He does a. I went to see him one night when he took over X, and I was sitting in the conference room. So it's like 10 o'clock. It's a classic illustration. So it's 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, yeah, meet me at Twitter at 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, fine. So I drive up and I go in and I go to the conference room, and it's Elon on his iPhone doing email, and there's a dog on the floor. And I'm like, oh, and in retrospect, I was just like, oh, is that your dog? And he looks at me completely deadpan. He's like, I've never seen that dog before in my life. And I'm like, what is it? Just like the company dog? He bursts out laughing because of course it's his dog. And then he's like, all right, I want to talk, but he's like, I need 15 minutes, and he's like, by the way, you can sit and hang out if you want. I just have to take a call. And he gets on Zoom, and he's on Zoom with rocket engineers for the Falcon rocket, the next generation rocket in Texas. And it's whatever, I don't know, 12 o'clock their time, midnight their time. And it's just him on his iPhone on a Zoom call, designing the next rocket. Which is like probably the rocket that we just saw work, right? And he's like fully conversant completely conversant in that. And he and the engineers fix whatever the problem is that week with the rocket. And he's like, all right, now we're going to go fix the database, here at Twitter. And so it's just like rinse and repeat, do that every single week. I once offered him a place where I thought he might want to take, I was like, I know you're under a lot of pressure. You go to this place for a week if you want. Because he famously doesn't own any houses. He sold all his houses. He doesn't own any houses. So he stays at friends' houses. So I was like, you can go use my house for a week. And if you need a vacation, you go use my house for a week. I got back 5 minutes later, one line, I don't take vacations.
All right. I just wanted to get to that part of the story. It took a while to get there, but great video. You can go watch the rest if you find this video. I don't know how you're going to find it. You may have to search by date. So you can search until 2024-10-28 from at Elon Musk. And you'll find it that way. All right, here's one from Paul Tan at Paul C. Tan. Can confirm I pitched the internet to the Yellow Pages folks at the same time. In 1995, I was running an internet service provider in Toronto at the time. They were indeed arrogant. So we got another account confirming the account from Elon and Kimball of their story. And what's fun whenever these two are together is they correct each other. They both do it. Elon and Kimball both hold the other one's feet to the flames to make sure they're telling the story truly and correctly. So that's what you see in this story. I mentioned it earlier. This is the Third Row podcast interview from 2018. I decided to clip out just Kimball's story about the time the head of the Yellow Pages threw a phone book at him. Go watch that if you didn't see it when I sent it before. That's a funny moment. All right, I'm going to hit the back button here. And keep going. Here's one from Kimball. Yesterday I was offline celebrating my wife Christiana Musk on her birthday. Today I'm celebrating her with the world. Happy birthday, my love, he said, and shared this nice photo of his wife. I thought she looked like Tallulah Riley in that photo, and so did 9 other people. She doesn't look like this in a lot of her other photos, but maybe that's a rude thing to say. I don't know. I'm back out of here. I never quite know what the etiquette is on. Are you allowed to say someone looks like someone else, even if they're famously beautiful? Right? I mean, I know you don't tell people they look like Steve Urkel. That's an insult, right? But telling somebody they look like Tallulah Riley, cast in movies for being beautiful, seems like that should be acceptable, right? Here's one from Chris Pierce at Christmas Pierce. I voted today. Of course, my bride went with me and voted too. I'm an old guy casting my first presidential ballot in 1976. This time was different than any other time. We waited to vote early, longer than before, because the traffic lines just to park at the polling place was always ridiculous. We waited in a longer line than ever before to vote. I heard first-time voter called out more often than ever before. The room had about twice as many voting booths than at any time before. This is probably the most important election I've ever seen or participated in, and probably yours too, with the I voted sticker there from Christmas Pierce. Thank you, Chris, for participating in this experiment we call American democracy. It's great to vote. Here's one from Jeremy about JT. I feel like Jeremy had a different handle before than about JT, and he changed it. Yes, you are allowed to change your handle on X. You don't see people do it very often, especially if they have a large following. It would be rare for somebody to change their handle after a whole bunch of people followed them. The whole hashtag Tesla community is waiting for this magic to happen. What magic? Well, it's another reply from that video, my favorite Elon interview of all time from I Like Teslas, who I bumped into at the grocery store several months ago. It's the most relaxed I've ever seen him in an interview. Too many interviewers rush him or mischaracterize what he's saying or need him to repeat stuff fans have heard him explain a dozen times or more before, or they cut him off mid-sentence. Brian White replying, he's allowed to choose better ones, better interviewers. I replied he agreed to do interviews with Rob Maurer and Dave Lee, who are superior interviewers, which would both have been great if he'd actually scheduled them. The other thing about them, it's not just that they're good at doing interviews, it's that they're both extremely knowledgeable about Tesla and Tesla's history and SpaceX and the other companies that Elon is involved with. The same way DMC Ryan, Ryan McCaffrey is, who interviewed Elon in episode 200 of his Ride the Lightning podcast. If you haven't heard that audio-only interview, Google it and listen to it. It's pretty great. When Elon starts to explain something that's going to take him a long time to recount, and Ryan is like, I know, I was there. I was at that event. Or I remember when that happened, or whatever. It's just, it hits so differently than when, this is not a shot at Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan says, you can do that? You can land rockets propulsively? No, I've never seen that before. Like, Joe Rogan, I know you've seen SpaceX rockets land propulsively before. What are you doing? Some interviewers have in mind that they should be doing as little talking as possible and as much stoking of their guests to keep talking as possible. And I think that's one of Joe Rogan's techniques is he never says, oh yeah, I know, because it ends the conversation. He always wants to say, no, tell me about that, right? And then you end up with Elon giving you the same explanations he has given many interviewers about why he does the things he does. And And that's where this post came back in. The whole Tesla community is waiting for this magic to happen. This magic of Rob Maurer and Dave Lee interviewing Elon Musk. Not together. I want those to be two separate interviews, please. Not that they wouldn't do a great job if they were to tag team. I would just rather get 2 hour-long interviews from each of those, or however much time Elon can give them for those interviews. I think it would be great, very informative, possibly the best Elon Musk interviews we're likely to ever see. Here's one from Viv at Battle Angel Viv. This feels so long ago, good memories. What does? It's this video. That's Viv. Here she is. 6 years ago, before she worked for Tesla in Europe, before there was a Berlin Gigafactory. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. Once again, in Colorado, you can buy this new Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive for as low as $25,740, including certain incentives. If you qualify for all available local incentives and factor in estimated gas savings, your cost could be as low as $3,240. That's practically giving you money to take the car at that point, right? That what? You can get a new Tesla Model 3. Now, if you're in Colorado, don't get the rear-wheel drive. Get the all-wheel drive. Get the dual-motor all-wheel drive. That's safer for you when conditions are wintry, snowy, icy on the roads. You would rather have 4 wheels that can provide power than 2. Breakdown. Starting price $42,490, minus a $3,400 inventory discount, minus a $7,500 federal EV tax credit available everywhere, not just Colorado, minus a $5,350 state EV rebate, minus a $500 referral discount if you are so fortunate as to get referral discounts you can use, and if we add all available incentives and estimated gas savings, minus $5,000 for Tesla referral credits if you have referred 10 people. Sawyer Merritt has, and some other people, I don't know how many. $1,000 Tesla military discount if you were military. A $6,000 Colorado Vehicle Exchange Program discount. I think you have to give them an ICE vehicle as your trade-in, and then they get to junk it. And you get $6,000 for that. That's a lot. Minus a $5,500 Xcel Energy EV rebate if Xcel is your energy provider, I guess. I don't know a lot about this one. Minus $5,000 for gas savings over a 5-year period of time. Minus free FSD transfer. There's not even an amount here, but I mean, that's worth something, right? Or is Tesla still charging like 12 grand for FSD, something like that? Yeah, would equal $3,000. That's the math. Crazy, crazy stuff. Brand new Tesla Model 3 for $3 grand after all that savings. This image goes so hard, said Sawyer in another of his many gems that he sent this week. I concur. That's a pretty great image. I'm sure Franz von Holzhausen had something to do with. Here's one from Tesla AI. Cybercab is individualized point-to-point autonomous transport. Yeah. There you go. So good video. Glad to see that they made more use of that Hollywood film backlot than just hosting the event on 1010. They also used it for what it's there for. They used it for filming. So they filmed these commercials for B-roll for Tesla. Hey, why not? While you're there, may as well go ahead and use it. All right. Next is this one from Sawyer. You'll be able to video call within Tesla Cybercab using the interior camera. He snagged this still image from that video you just saw. Did you notice this still image has an inset down here of a guy inside a Tesla Cybercab? That's what's happening here. This is a video conference call from inside the Cybercab using its cabin-facing camera built in. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt, if you know who that is. Shaq now owns 3 Tesla Cybertrucks. The third is glossy maroon, has 26-inch 4G Auto wheels, and the first Wado wide-body kit put on a Cybertruck. So I saw this one as I was driving around Florida the other day, which is one of the places Shaq lives, and it's pretty sweet. Passed him on the road, and no, I don't have footage of it because you don't know until he's already passed you. Hey, that was Shaq's dark maroon Cybertruck. I think I've also seen his black Cybertruck before. Here's one from Eduardo. Imagine getting pulled over by this Cybertruck police. Pull me over, it was me. With all the flashing lights on here. Yeah, check out that awesome police Cybertruck. Looks pretty great. Yeah, and if you think you can outrun it, you probably can't. You would need a very fast car to outrun this cyber beast. Here's one from Nick Cruz Patane. This is great. Thief has no idea how to open a Cybertruck and simply walks away. Reposting Tony Dang on Facebook, I think is what this world icon here is indicating. Thank God thieves don't know where to start when it comes to opening a Cybertruck. There isn't a door handle on a Cybertruck. So you can see this car thief trying to open the door, see if it's unlocked and he can steal anything. He just holds his hand out like Vincent in the GIF from Pulp Fiction, where Vincent can't find whatever he was looking for. He's looking for the door handle and there's no door handle for him to pull, so he just walks off. Here's one from K10. Elon is incredibly hospitable and so cool to share these stories with us, replying to me in this video, which I think is fair game. It's been out there for 6 years now. I think anybody ought to be able to just post whatever their favorite clip is from that and not have to worry about people who haven't seen that video yet. Well, go see the video. I linked to it, and I tagged Safi and Fraval in the first reply to it to make a very short thread out of that. Here's one from Alex at AJ Tourville News. Tesla dominates EV sales despite the increased number of competitors and models, holding on to 54.5% of the EV market in California in 2024. I may have to go back and update my California charts, which I think I made some of that I could go back and update. More from Sawyer. Through the first 9 months of 2024, Tesla sold twice as many Model Ys in California as the combined sales of all other non-Tesla EVs. On the top 15 bestseller list, Model Y is a beast. Look at the Cybertruck in the 8th place spot here, ahead of the Rivian R1S. What's ahead of that? BMW i4, Tesla Model X, Toyota RAV4, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Hyundai Ioniq 5, and then the Tesla Model 3 and the Tesla Model Y, no surprise, number 1 and number 2 for registrations in California year to date, 2024 through September. Good stuff there with this photo of a Model Y, I guess. All right, here's one from Emmanuel Huna, new subscriber. Hi, welcome Emmanuel, good to have you here. At EHUNA on X. In this video, I take a ride in a Tesla Cybercab, a taxi without a steering wheel and without brake or accelerator pedals. Watch in 4K. See our additional Tesla full self-driving videos at this link. And buy a Tesla with autopilot and save. I guess this is a referral credit link from Tesla Emmanuel, so go give him your referral if you want to give it to Emmanuel Huna. He was at the event and he got a ride in a Cybercab and introduced himself to his single rider line companion after they hopped in. But if you haven't seen enough video from the Cybercab event, here's another one for you to go watch as he climbs in and goes riding around. I guess I will, it's a 4-minute video, so we're not going to watch the whole thing. I will back out of here and keep going. Here's another one from Alex News. Tesla is crushing it in California with 71% of registrations among the top 15 selling EVs. Model Y is number one with 48% of registrations of EVs in California so far this year through the end of September. Model 3 has another 17% of the EV market in California. Model X has 3%, and Cybertruck already has 3%. It's going to move up and pass the Model X before long. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not very far behind now. So, yeah, it makes sense that Cybertruck would pass Model X, even in California, where Model X probably has its best market. Here's one from Meet Kevin at Real Meet Kevin. Wow, Elon Musk is genius, 4D chess master. July 2022 earnings call. If people want to make money, they should refine lithium. Elon's quote, "You can't lose. It's a license to print money." Then, lithium supply explodes, lithium prices fall / battery costs go down, Tesla's margins go up. #W. This was a win for Elon Musk that the lithium prices had been going up in 2022 by a lot. I mean, from 72,500, which was the normal level, to 467,254. Yeah. So Elon was able to restore equilibrium to the lithium market by encouraging people to supply more lithium carbonate to the market. And then when the supply increased, the price went back down to normal. So people can still get their healthy 72,500 per ton in CNY. All right. Chinese yen, maybe? Let me know if you know that that's what CNY stands for in the comments below. Here's one from Joe Tegmeyer. At Joe Tegmeyer, the boring company crews have completed installing the tunnel road surface panels and are now preparing the W exit area for the final facing structures and driveways. Much more going on inside the south extension, where the other end of the tunnel is located. Getting closer to the day, we see a Cybertruck drive through this tunnel. So I guess they're doing their final inspections on this big old round Boring Company tunnel dug underneath the interstate highway that runs past Tesla's Gigafactory in Austin, one of the largest buildings around, and they still are out of space, and they need to run a tunnel across the street to get a better logistics staging lot for Cybertrucks. So I think that's the plan, is as they build Cybertrucks, they'll drive them through this tunnel and park them to be loaded onto car carriers and driven off to wherever they go. Let me know if you know better than I do what's going on there. Okay. Next, post from Sawyer Merritt. So many posts from Sawyer Merritt this week. Tesla Model Y, #1 best-selling car overall in the world, #1 best-selling car overall in Europe. On track to being the #1 best-selling car overall in the US. #1 most American-made car, #1 best-selling car by revenue in the world. Launched just 4.5 years ago. And there's a Model Y. They look pretty good, despite what Bob Lutz said about them being ugly, terminally ugly. Don't know who's going to buy that thing. Here's one from Matt Smith at Matt. Just thought I'd start Halloween with something scary. What's scary? Boo, said Matt Smith on Halloween with this photo of Dan O'Dowd, Green Hills Software owner. Tiderium at Tesla Uber Ride replying, "Good morning, weird way to start the day. Recent context?" Yeah, it's just a jump scare. It's just a jump scare. It's a term from the horror movie business for your timeline. It's Dan O'Dowd. Nothing scarier than seeing Dan O'Dowd suddenly appear. Here's one from Michael Wise at Weezilla. Nightmare scenario today. Someone ran a red light. I had my 1-year-old daughter in the back, T-bone them. Crawled into the back seat and pulled my crying baby out. Thank God she seems okay. I was so scared. There is nothing else like Tesla safety. I'm so grateful. Thanks, Tesla. Yeah. You never know when you get out there into the real world. You never know, Frodo Baggins, when you leave your home. Who knows where you may be swept off to, as I butcher the quote from Lord of the Rings. But you can't control whether somebody drives into you or not. We saw it from the surfing cyber surgeon earlier. I think his wife and kids were just sitting at a light when they got plowed into at 55 miles per hour from somebody driving into them. You can't stop somebody from driving into you when you're on the road. If that's what somebody wants to do, they can do it. So make sure you're in a safe vehicle when you're on the road. Buy a Tesla. Not financial advice. Do your own research for entertainment purposes only, etc. Here's one from Jason DeBolt. At Jason DeBolt, 3 Supreme Court justices voted to allow non-citizens to vote in our elections. Read that again. You got 2,800 likes on this. 3 of the 9 Supreme Court justices voted in support of people who aren't citizens being allowed to vote in democratic elections in the U.S. Like anybody who's not a citizen, just anybody just show up to any polling place, book a flight here from wherever on earth you live, come vote in the American elections. I know you don't live here, you don't have any stake here, you're not paying any taxes here, but yeah, cast a vote in our election. What? Is it a radical notion that the people voting in your election should be citizens? I think that's kind of a key element of democracy, is that you want the citizens to vote. Here's another one from Sawyer. Follower of mine from Colorado just bought a brand new Model Y for less than $20,000 by taking advantage of various EV incentives there. Not enough people in Colorado know about all the incentives in the state. Gonna buy a new Model Y for under $20,000. Crazy stuff. Here's one from Not Broken at notbroken_x. Dressing up as inflation, bold choice. Guess you'll be haunting everyone's wallets while politicians pretend it's not even there. Scariest costume of the year, hands down. So Matt Smith said he wanted to go as Dan O'Dowd to frighten the kids into staying off the road where they'll be safer from FSD, is what Dan O'Dowd thinks. Here was my Halloween costume, inflation. I said, too bad nobody will see it, because inflation tax is invisible. With this well-worn gif from Milton Friedman I've used a bunch of times before. You're paying for it. If you don't pay for it directly through taxation, you pay for it indirectly through inflation tax. That's how that works. Yeah, very, very scary. You never see inflation coming. It gets you before you see it. Here's one from Daryl Park at Daryl Park. Unrelated, desperately need a chart/graphic that demonstrates safety of Teslas relative to other vehicles. Nothing converts anti-Tesla people to Tesla faster than discussions of safety. But discussion takes a while. Graphic would be instantaneous. Thanks for all you do, said Daryl Park, replying to this same post. And I said, well, since you asked so nicely, here you go. Here's my most recent chart on Tesla safety. Looks like this through the end of last year. I expect further improvement from here in how safe Teslas are going to get, as we just saw from the speculative statistics on how much safer FSD is getting, how rapidly. Teslas just keep getting safer the longer you own them. The next post that I liked came from Tara Bull at TaraBull808. The libs are fact-checking Donald Trump not being an actual garbage man. This is not a political post. Laura Powell here at Laura Powell ESQ said, fact check. This is a staged photo op. Donald Trump refers to it as his garbage truck, but he does not actually own it. Not only is he not employed as a sanitation engineer, he does not possess the requisite license to operate that garbage truck. Well, I don't know if Laura Powell is in a right-hand drive country or not, but the United States of America is a left-hand drive country. So as you can see in the photograph here, Donald Trump is a passenger in a truck being driven by a commercial driver who has the appropriate license to drive this truck. Fact-checking Donald Trump not being an actual garbage man. Make it make sense, please. This this is what you have to post about Laura Powell? Here's another one from Sawyer News. The Austin Fire Department has started doing fire safety drills at Boring Company's tunnel at their Texas HQ. We just saw it in the Joe Tegmeyer drone flyover videos earlier. I was looking for this photo and I didn't see it there. Glad that I gave it a like when I saw it later from Sawyer, retweeting the Boring Company, thanking the Austin Fire Department for getting this thing certified, ready to be used by the Tesla employees, anxious to get driving through that tunnel. Here's one from the Short Shorts historian at Tesla Historian. This day in Tesla Q history, we were warned by @John 5443625 5 years ago. Tesla is massively indebted, structurally unprofitable, and very poorly managed if you lie to yourself and convince yourself that #TeslaQ is some sort of robotics/AI/green energy juggernaut. You're going to lose all your money, all of it, he said on Halloween 2019. Only 100 people liked that. That is criminally low for likes for this post. From John Tesla Tuck, who we never see anymore, but he was prominent back in the day. Here's one from FSD Pilot Unsupervised at JCHYBOW. I think that's John Chabowski. Frunk or treat, half the kids that stop by. Is that a Tesla? This is as close as I've ever been to a Tesla. Do you have a Cybertruck? Kids are great. And kids love Teslas, and it's a whole frunk full of candy. What's not to like? You have to give that post a like once you see it. Here's one from CERN Basher. Cybertruck, the preferred choice of supervillains, as we continue our Halloween-themed post medley with Gru, I guess is that character's name. I've never watched any of those films, but recognize the character. Here's one from Brett Winton at Winton Arc. It's possible that the cost to manufacture the entire Cybercab will roughly equal the cost of Waymo's LiDAR sensors installed. That wasn't meant to be a scary Halloween tweet, but if you're Waymo, you should be scared by the facts, if there are any, in this post. Top hat LiDAR at $7,500, on-body LiDARs at $2,000 times 3. Call it $1,500 to install the parts and wiring. $15,000 installed. Cybercab, at half the content of the average Model 3/Y, should be half as expensive to manufacture. Scaled suggests $18K. Yeah. Not impossible that each Cybercab will cost Tesla less to manufacture than Waymo is paying just for the LiDAR they added to their driverless vehicle that Tesla doesn't need any of at all. Here's one from Tesla Economics. Sharpshooter Kim Ye-ji is now Tesla Korea's brand ambassador. Welcome to the Tesla team. Yeah, this is a pretty cool champion, Olympian in the sharpshooting contest. And now Tesla's brand spokesperson in Korea. So that's fun. Here's one from Beneficial Lobster at SellTheDip6. Why is it always a Corvette? With a screenshot here of the Cybertruck account posting first prototype Cybertruck with in-house dry cathode 4680 cells, making it an all-dry electrode vehicle. So what you can't really see very well here is the Cybertruck surrounded by employees, but what you can see pretty well is the Corvette in the handicap space. Over here. Why is that funny? It says, why is there a Corvette in the handicap parking spot? Well, I mean, a handicapped person could drive a Corvette. That's not what makes this funny. I'm going to click through here and scroll up to show you this post from Alex. An entitled Tesla driver from Maryland parked that fancy red ride in a handicapped spot at Walmart. In other news, parking patrol needs glasses. This is not a Tesla. It says right here, Corvette. Even with this low quality photograph, I can tell that this is a Chevy Corvette parked in the Walmart parking lot, not a Tesla. And Beneficial Lobster replied, "Why is it always a Corvette parked in the handicap spot?" That's a different Corvette, different color, but I guess handicap spots are popular with people who drive Corvettes. I replied to this and got a bunch of likes replying, "I guess Tesla just means fast car now." If the car looks fast, it's a Tesla. This is a real article, replied Elon Musk. Yes, a small local paper from the Villages, Florida, where they thought this was a Tesla. That's very funny. All right. Entitled Tesla driver. Take it. Well, how do they know that it didn't have a handicap sticker or placard in the front? I guess if they're the police, they checked that first before they posted. Here's another one from Viv. So many people claim to hate Cybertruck, but can't actually give a reason when asked. Many times it's just triangle-shaped bad. If they would take one for a spin, I'm certain the overwhelming majority would actually love it. This is true for so many things in life. The age-old, don't knock it till you try it. Good post, standalone post there from Viv. Here's another one from Brett Winton, who featured a lot more frequently in this episode than he does in most. The average 3/Y costs $35,000 to produce. This has a bit more than half the battery pack, half the number of motors, half the number of doors, half the number of seats, and no paint shop. Hard-pressed to figure out how it could cost $25,000 to produce. Replying to Zane here, who said, I predict the robotaxi will MSRP at $29,900 at launch, and Tesla will want to net $5,000 on each. Do Waymo's LiDAR sensors cost $25,000? How much total spent on an entire vehicle? Brett taking Zane to task here, saying, oh no, Tesla can make it for way less than $25,000 if the battery pack is half the size, half the motors, half the doors, half the seats, and no paint shop. That's a lot of cost savings, or it ought to be, and then you add to that the unboxed process as opposed to the century-old assembly line process for manufacturing. All of that combined ought to make it much less expensive to produce than a 3 or a Y. Here's one from Elon Musk that I liked. Thank you everyone for subscribing to X and supporting freedom of speech. Retweeting Shibatoshi Nakamoto saying it's great to see so many blue check marks. I agree. Great to see blue check marks all over X. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. News. Jaguar has entirely stopped selling new vehicles with gas powertrains in the UK. Jaguar is going fully electric, but the EVs aren't ready yet. It won't sell any new cars in its home market until 2026. You can still buy a new Jag outside of the UK. This is nutty. So for the next year and a half, you won't be able to buy a new Jaguar in the British Isles, I guess, is what this is telling us. All right. Figure it out, Jaguar. The clock is ticking. Here's another one from Sawyer. Just lighten up the scoreboard. Destroying the competition this week. Sawyer Merritt with a screenshot here. Will Lucid be worth more than Tesla by 2040? From 5 hours ago? Come on, folks. I thought when I read this headline that it would be from 2015 or something. 577 replies here. This was my reply. The answer is no, said Dr. Know-It-All correctly. Giant free ad for garbage article. Yeah. Who wrote this junk and who okayed it to go online? Yeah. Yeah, good replies there. Okay. Here's one from Barbara at BMT094. Hope Elon and X can look into Scott's suspension since his response didn't violate rules. If you don't know what happened here, Scott Palamas got himself a 7-day suspension from X. Why? Well, I'll read you this tweet. Why fight for free speech? Because if you don't, even on the social media platform most supportive of free speech, you could get an instant 7-day suspension for violent speech if you reply to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's political opponent, agreeing with his nonviolent post linked below by saying firing Trudeau would make a lot of people happy. That's the content that earned a 7-day suspension. As Canadian Scott Palamas learned only a few hours ago, worse, Scott has no direct way to appeal his 7-day suspension because he can only DM accounts that follow him, which doesn't include any official X support accounts. It's a messed up situation, and happily, it resolved favorably for Scott about 24 hours after he got suspended. So, 6 days early. Let me click through here so you can see this post from Pierre Poilievre. I don't know if I pronounced that right or not. Probably not in Canada. So there's the post, and you can't see the deleted tweet. Even though Scott deleted it right away, he got suspended immediately upon sending it. And that's what the screenshots here say. I guess I should show you the screenshots so you're not left in the dark as to what's going on. This was the post, and this was the email Scott received saying, hey, you have violated our rules against violent speech. The laws are different in Canada than they are in the US. There you go. He deleted the reply as soon as he received the suspension notice, but the suspension still stands. And the update was X has released Scott from custody early with this post here from Scott as soon as he was allowed to post again. Thank you so much to those who were willing to post and support me over the last 24 hours. I can't even tell you how thankful to you all I am. Specifically, executive producer of this program, Bradford Ferguson, Alexandra Mertz at Tesla Boomer Mama, Warren Redlick at WR4NYGov, and yours truly. Of course, I do not condone or support any hatred or violence against anyone. I'm assuming X has some old code that misread my original post and assumed context, tagging Linda Yax and Elon Musk here. In my opinion, premium users and X creators should have an appeal chance or free life to instantly appeal before being banned, having the post in question quarantined until reviewed before it posts publicly. Good idea from fellow Rebellionaire Lion. Alex at AJ Tourville. This would be a happy medium between legal removal and creator ability to report. Thank you again, everyone, with the screenshot of well, I guess he didn't screenshot being reinstated, but we know he was reinstated because he was able to post again, besides just in DM chat groups. Okay, so I'll back out of here and keep scrolling. Another one from Sawyer, of course. Tesla sources 44% more of its Cybertruck parts from the US and Canada than Ford does for its gas-powered F-150, and more than 2.2x as much as the F-150 Lightning EV. Most people might say the Ford F-150 is the most American-made vehicle, but it doesn't even make the top 50. The Cybertruck ranks as the most American-made full-size pickup truck with 65% of its parts from the US and Canada. In comparison, the gas-powered F-150 contains only 45% US/Canadian parts, while the Lightning F-150 EV has just 29% US and Canadian parts. So another good post there from Sawyer. More from Sawyer. Here's one saying news. Apple is taking a 20% stake in its iPhone satellite connectivity partner Globalstar, a stake worth $400 million. Globalstar will also receive a prepayment of $1.1 billion from Apple that is intended to improve satellite infrastructure. So this is Apple going way, way out of their way to not use SpaceX's Starlink technology. They would rather support this little company with way fewer satellites and worse latency called Global Star. So, yeah, that's what you get when you take umbrage with your interactions with Elon Musk, I guess, is how Tim Cook arrived at that decision. Here's the post from Alexandra Mertz that we just saw Scott Palamas thank her for, tagging Linda Yaccarino. Hey, Linda, can you please look into this? So messed up. Thank you. Another one from the EV Evangelist UK at EV Evangelist. OMG, point landed. What do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? Still, no eye, deer. Boom. As a reply to this thread. In the news 8 years ago, Hillary Clinton 87% likely to win. That's a real post from November 1st of 2016, less than a week before Election Day. 87% likely to win the presidency was Hillary Clinton, if you believe that post. How close to the election was that? Only a few days. I think the election was like November 4th or 5th that year. It's always the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, which means the first Tuesday of the month, unless the 1st of November is a Tuesday, in which case it's the 8th, because you can't make it the first day of the month. All right. Where's the next post that I liked? It's from... How did I skip down the page so far? It's from Renaissance Man at Hein_the_Slayer. Tesla Cybertruck becomes third best-selling EV in the US after Model 3 and Model Y. Ford pauses F-150 Lightning production due to flagging demand and operational. GM leapfrogs Ford in US EV sales. I guess for just that month is what this is. And across the whole US, not just California, as we saw earlier. Here's another one from Emmanuel. In this 3 minutes video, we can see how our Tesla FSD Cybertruck takes us on a 1,126-mile road trip from San Francisco, California to Bend, Oregon, and back. An action-packed video with California and Oregon experiences with music by the Stray Cats. So another good video with content of a time-lapse video taking you all the way from San Francisco to Bend, Oregon, and back on FSD. Here's one from Steven Spencer. We'll get you the context here first. I said, attention Emerald Mine truthers only 5 hours ago, retweeting Steve Jurvetson, who said, Elon's superhuman dedication saved the company in its darkest hour. A bank had just failed to raise a round. The CEO had to be replaced, that being Martin Eberhard at the time. Tesla's worst CEO, hands down. Roadster gross margins were negative under Martin Eberhard's leadership. Largest inside investor was openly hostile. Who was the largest inside investor? I forget. Tell me if you know who it was. It wasn't Martin Eberhard. He didn't take a huge stake in the company. He just wanted to run it. No funding offers, and Elon borrowed money to make payroll. Replying to this thread begun by John Ehrlichman, this is a Tesla headline from this day in 2008. Today, Tesla generates $40 million in sales every 3.5 hours. Tesla got another $40 million lifeline, with a lot of the funding coming from Elon Musk personally. Don't pull the plug quite yet on Elon Musk's electric sports car startup Tesla Motors after laying off 18% of its workforce 2 weeks ago. 69 people out of 384. We have confirmed with the company, and reportedly burning through all but $9 million in cash. Tesla is getting another lifeline in the form of a $40 million convertible, that is convertible as in debt, not convertible as in riding with the top down. Investors have now sunk $186 million into this company. Elon replied, I put the last of my money I made from PayPal into that round. Had nothing left, not even a house. So if you want to know how Elon Musk got all those shares that he got, aside from founding the company, he sunk all the rest of the money he had into it to save it in 2008 with Steve Jurvetson's remembrances here. I just reposted it with "Attention Emerald Mine Truthers," to which Steven Spencer replied, "Roadster gross margins were negative. Has any other American OEM gotten to positive gross margins on EVs yet?" I replied, "Tesla did it 15 years ago. In the past 15 years, nobody else has figured out how to make money selling EVs." Amazing, amazing stuff. The approach Elon Musk takes with his company is just different than the approach everybody else is taking. There's those posts we just saw from those three, and that's it. That's the end of this week's video. So, with that, I will check back in with Loki one more time to see that he has his head propped up, eyes open, looking into the next room, trying to figure out what's going on with the noises he can hear from the rest of the house. Before I thank you for watching this week's episode, and check back in on the Loki bed cam, because he turned his head, and you may want to see Loki. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate your support, especially my executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and I'll see you in the next one.